So it's still day 4, and okay, I'm trying to get on a busy road and just, yep, that car has passed. So it's still day 4, right? And so I'm picking her up back. We're coming back from the driving school, and my daughter didn't come early, and I'm so scared. My heart was in boom boom boom. I'm like, okay, what has happened? The time she was supposed to come, she didn't come. I had to send a message, okay, what's going on? Then I now opened to send her a message. Then I now saw she had sent me a message that, oh, she carry Uber. That apparently they were 2. Actually, so that when they were going 2 days, they're taking another student classes an hour. I'm like, no, don't take Uber, because honestly, if it's not in Nigeria, not, of course, take Uber and come. You understand? If it's places where you know things, systems work. I think it's not as if bad things don't happen there, but you know that the system cares. Your life matters as a human being. But unfortunately in Nigeria, your Nigerian life doesn't matter. You're just one of statistics. And sadly, we are all victims waiting to happen. And I always remember that thing you said about the 1,000 days of Chibok girls, that as long as Chibok girls are in captivity, we all are in captivity. But that's another thing anyway. So having experienced all of these Uber attacks and the way they do, and please, I didn't even want my child anywhere in any Uber. I felt if the trainer had informed me, I would have just followed them and just pick her up in car. It's the sad reality that we live in our country today, and the different things. Anyway, back to, so that was it for earlier. It's a bit of all of that. So the next thing that I was thinking about, as I was sitting down, I was actually going through my books. I didn't even read much today, and today would have been the day I would have done more. So when I was doing my summarizing, so I realized, okay, what I need to do now is to actually just do like what I will answer in exam, instead of trying to summarize the whole course note. Just pick sort of, okay, if it's an exam, this is the way I will answer it, and just leave down, and then I'll read all those course notes generally. Anyway, that's information for you, not information for you, but it will be in the video. Back to, well, so while I was doing, so I just going through YouTube and everything, and you know, just seeing some issues on domestic violence and what people had gone through. And so I just wanted us to talk about, you know, domestic violence and stuff like that. So what do you have to say about, you know, people staying on in violent relationships?
This last minute stuff.
Oh, is it last minute? Isn't it just, don't you think about these things? Don't you have like, oh my goodness, there's traffic? Don't you have like, oh, this last minute? It's not last minute, just about what's your thoughts? I mean, haven't you ever thought about it? Haven't you seen it? Haven't you either see someone who has gone through it or heard about it or something like that? And then you oh, okay, these are the, for me, like, honestly, when I was much younger, yeah. As a teenager, I just made up my mind. It was something I saw domestic violence all around me, and it was something I said I would never, ever allow myself to be in. And I always said that, look, if a man puts his hand on me, husband puts his hand on me, I know one person will visit heaven, and it will not be me. That for sure, I always kept saying myself. So I wasn't even, for me, it's not even something to be tolerated, please. And I think one of the things that a lot of people who shame divorced women, and I always say that for every divorced woman, there's a divorced man. So I don't know why they try to shame women about it. For anybody who shame divorced women, or anybody who shame single parenthood and all of that, just know that in a way, you are also enabler of domestic violence. You might not know that you're doing it, because that's what happens. Because there are a lot of women who feel they would rather die in it than come out, because they can't face the, it's not anger. It's not anger I want to use now. The shaming from the society. You know, the way they were looking at you, oh, how could you have been a failure in this thing and the other. So people also are contributing to these things. I mean, a while ago, you know, this gospel singer Osinachi that was killed. It's really sad. It's really sad. And one of the things is that churches are quite aware of this thing. Unfortunately, churches are, and they do nothing. Even and there's a place where the churches have sort of like more control over, because there's a closer relationship between pastors and people, even like counseling and all of that. A lot of people do it within that house, and they keep telling you to stay. It's not as common in the mosque, because I mean, I don't even know who is the imam in the mosque around me, talk less of saying that I have to go there and be doing counseling, but it's more. But even though we also have all of those imams and everything that will keep telling women to stay on and all of that. But hey, divorce is allowed. In Islam, it's allowed. It's the most hated thing in the sight of Allah, yeah. But it is allowed, and anybody can call for divorce, whether the man or the woman. Islamically, the man can, just do it like that. The woman have to go to court and ask for a divorce and stuff like that. So I don't see this reason why people are constantly being forced to stay in relationships that are abusive. And anytime you're ready to talk or you want to talk, let me know if you and just jump right in. And one of the things that I think for me, oh Lord have mercy, somebody is calling me. Just leave it like that. Hopefully it goes away, and hopefully I'm being heard. Or you could just put off the thing, the phone, just cut it off there.
This one?
Yeah. So that it doesn't. Hopefully, is it still on? Yeah. Hopefully I didn't go off at that time. But just to say that one of the things I think parents can help in preparing their children for not to see violence as a normal part of life. It's not to accept it in their own life too. Because I see this situation where a lot of parents say, oh, I'm staying because of my children. Which children? You are destroying your children, because abuse destroys. Domestic violence destroys everybody. And then you find children who turn out also to be abusive, or who are ready to accept all form of abuse because they saw it being done in their lives, the ones they loved and trusted the most, and they think it's normal. And so the best thing that you can do is, first of all, to let your children know that it's not acceptable. I said to my daughter, I don't even know whether you remember this idea. I think when we were much younger, like, please, even if you are going out with somebody, in your sleep you dreamt that the person slapped you, walk away. Don't even wait to see the slap on your face, or the hitting, or there's a kind of words that someone use, like a disrespectful manner. If people don't disrespect your feelings or the person that you are, there's no need staying in that relationship. It's not about getting married. Marriage is not to be endured. Marriage is to be enjoyed. As long as there's no happiness in that marriage, what's the essence? For me, when I was getting married, topmost of the fact that we know Islamically, they say it's 50% of you fulfill 50% of your religious obligations by getting married. But it didn't say that you have to get married. So it's something that you're going to do it because you want to. And if you get married and you are not in a happy relationship, you're in an abusive relationship, most times you're not even able to fulfill the obligation of marriage, because you're going to be coming at each other. There's going to be hatred and all of that. So why stay in such relationship just because, what do you say, because of my children? No, it's better to explain to your children this is it, so that let them understand that there's respect for themselves. So that's the number one thing for you as a parent, right? In terms of your children, the way you let them know that violence is not something to be endured. The next thing, of course, is to ensure that they don't get that violence. For example, your daughters, don't allow their brothers to beat them. I think that's one of the things we do. You find out that older brother will beat junior brother because, of course, basically, most times you find out that the male child is more in terms of physically endowed with strength and all of that, and they keep beating the child. Don't allow that at all. Don't allow cousins or whatever, anybody. So your child should know that they should not allow endure violence, that physical abuse or emotional abuse or psychological abuse or words, all of that, so that they know it's not a matter of, there are people who are in relationship, and they are being abused. But they also been abused. Their families, their fathers, their mothers, their siblings, their cousins, whether it's physical abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's psychological abuse, financial abuse, and all of that. So where do they know to stop? All the people that they've loved all their lives have always abused them. So that's another way to know. Let them know. And the other thing is not to be judgmental. The other thing is not to put this pressure that we put on children and tell them, you must get married, you must stay in husband's house, you must do it, you want to shame me. No, please. Marriage is not a must in it. There's no religion that says marriage is a must. Yeah, it's a good thing to be done when you find the right person that you want to spend your life with, not the one that you've been in a relationship where you're treated as a chatted, as a ball to be meeting anyhow. It's really crazy. Okay, do you have anything to say? Otherwise, I guess I'm good.
Yeah, I think you said most of the stuff. Like, I mean, people have like their reasons for staying. Like, you just have to be like understanding. Like, at the end of the day, you can't like force anyone to leave an abusive relationship. So like, if you know someone in it, just like talk to them. Like, if they don't want to leave, they don't want to leave. I'm guessing when they're ready, like no one's going to tell them twice to leave. So like, just don't like force people. Like, you can't like, okay, I'm not saying leaving is the right thing, but you can't like always force people to do the right thing. You can just say your piece, say like advice, but whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do. Because like, it's like when you start giving people advice, they start like hating you, or like, I don't know, they like, if you tell someone to do something, they don't want to do it, and like, then they start like getting onto you, and then that's not helping anyone. So just try and be patient, just try and talk, be a listening ear, like always advice, like they can come to you, and then
I can't see myself very well, so it's a bit down. Maybe raise it up.
it's just raising the exposure. I'm guessing it's just the lighting.
Yeah, so that. Okay, right.
But yeah, just like if you know someone in there, just keep talking to them, like as much as you can handle, because you always have to put yourself first.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like that's why in relationships you always still have to put yourself first, like even above your kids. I mean, unless they're like 5 months or whatever. Like always put yourself first, like, because trust me, like most people who like parents who stay together for their kids, like their kids literally like always hate them. And it's like your kids know, and your kids like, because obviously like when they're young, okay, but like when they're growing older, like when they're growing older, like they start to like resent, because like they know stuff. So you just always put yourself first, just always try to make sure you're happy. And yeah, people are gonna talk. Like if you stay in an abusive marriage, people are gonna talk. If you leave, people are gonna talk. People are always talking. So
You actually have, old woman sense in your head. You know, the way you sit down, like, okay, I mean, but I think we can actually have something that will be talking about all of these kind of issues. I'll bring the older generation point of view, you bring the younger generation, and then we see how it goes. We can. Should we?
If I'm not on camera.
If you're not, yeah, we can do that. Of course, we can do it that way. We can do it the way you're not on camera.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, we can. I think it's all. I think there's something in it there. And as we were talking, and I like the aspect that you brought in, because sometimes a lot of people blame the friends of people who know about this abusive relationship, and when something disastrous, tragic happens, then they're not like, okay, why didn't you do anything? What can you really do? That's the thing. And like you said, if people are not interested in living or doing all these things, there's nothing you can do. You can only advise. You can't force them to do what you want them to do, because it's their life. You have your own too. And then so there's nothing really you could talk to them. You also have that support. I personally would always say to you, and the question is, what do you want to do? When the person would have finished talking, I said, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I'll be here to support you. But then it also, like you also said, that you also have to put yourself first, even in those kind of relationships, because sometimes what people in abusive relationships don't understand is that what it does to the people that love them. So I'm saying you being battered, I'm saying you being psychologically abused, being financially abused, being emotionally abused, being reduced to almost nothing. It hurts me because I love you. It hurts me because you're my friend, or you're my relation, or somebody that has reached out to me. And so when you keep going back, and then you come after the battering, you go back. There was somebody that literally told me of the story. I mean, you guys, if you're in Nigeria, you know this person. Well, of course, I'm not going to mention him. He told me about, when I had an abuse case that I had to take to him for them to what to do and everything. And then he talked about his sister who was beaten by her husband, and she was in coma for 3 months. I'll never forget that. Coma for 3 months, and this girl woke up, and after whatever, she went back to the man. And nah, there are certain things that I can't stand. Please, I have this friend that I even took to this person, because later she too, in her own abusive relationship, would come. There was a day I remember, in the middle of the night, they called me. The husband was beating her up. I had to start frantically looking for numbers. I had to call the command center, Abuja command center. They sent in through vehicles and everything to the house to go and take the man out and at least the beating to stop and everything. The man when we went to, when we were in court, they were saying the man actually threatened and he was coming at me. He wanted to beat me. Hey, okay, nah. He was like I looked at him and said, oh, guy, I'm not that your wife that used to beat anyhow at all. No, I will design you, I will break every bone. In this court, I will break every, you put your hands on me, I will break every bone on your body, especially those ones in your finger, so that when they put, when they put, what do you call this, POP, plaster there, your hand will be in waka position for a very long time. Anytime they ask you, they'll say, who you beat, you'll say, Naisha, now you touch. It was crazy. But, she kept, staying, and then they would complain, and the person would keep saying, at one time, I just said to her, I said, you know what, I don't want to know about this thing. I don't want to, because also for my own mental health, I need to also protect my mind and everything. I don't want, and there was a day I literally said to her, look, if your husband kills you, I will not shed a tear, and I mean it. I just said to her, sorry, I will not, because you've said this thing, you keep repeatedly saying whatever it is. I've accepted the fact that you are going to be there. That's your choice, and you have a right to make that choice. I also have a right to protect my feelings. So it's really quite hard and quite difficult, But then there's somebody. Do you remember somebody? I don't mention her name. Do you remember somebody that you went for her when you were in Regent Secondary School, that she gave birth, that you went to visit her, and then that the day she gave birth, I went and they wanted to pierce the baby's ear, and the husband came.
Yeah.
You remember that time?
Yeah.
And you told, do you know, I always tell the wife, I say, you were the first person that told me as if she was in an abusive relationship.
Me?
Yeah. When you said, oh, see the way that what the husband did, how he did this thing, you think, you mentioned her name and people, you think she's in abusive, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
She never, although they're separated now, she talked about she was actually going through so much abuse. He would literally lock her. She was pregnant, lock her in the room. There was one that it's so terrible. Oh no! This thing is so terrible. But it's really crazy how these things go. But please put yourself first. No, it's not about the society. It's not about anyone. But if you like the abuses, you want to say no, but one of the things I always say, and I've written about this before. I say, look, if you're in a relationship and your spouse, because women are abusive too, men are abusive. There are some women also that are abusive, though it's more with men than it is more abusive men than abusive women physically when it comes to marriages, because of course the power dynamics. So if you're in that relationship where you have your husband is beating you or your wife is beating you, and then you feel that you can't leave, you want to die in that relationship, so why don't you do it in this way? The guy beats you finish. Anytime he beats you in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., carry could flog the living daylight out of him. Oh no, flog the night out of him, because it's at night now. Flog the night out of him. By the time you flog him, make sure the door is ready. You run through it. The next time he does that, every time he lays his eye, always reciprocate with that, so that at the end of the day, you people will now have sense one day and have sense and not know that bodies are supposed to be respected and not supposed to be. So I'm closing out here. Peace out. We probably will do something where we'll be having different conversation. Send in your questions soon. Thank you.